Imagine holding a simple quarter in your hand, one that silently slipped through mint inspections years ago and is now making headlines by fetching thousands at auctions. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the fascinating stories behind three unsuspecting U.S. Roosevelt dime coins 1973, 1967, and 1984p. These coins, once overlooked as ordinary pocket change, have become some of the most coveted treasures in modern collecting. We begin this thrilling journey with the intriguing 1973 Roosevelt dime, a coin whose secrets are just waiting to be uncovered. Imagine for a moment pulling out a handful of change from an old jacket or a forgotten coin jar in the kitchen. Among those coins, nestled between a few nickels and a worn-out penny, you find a 1973 Roosevelt dime. It looks ordinary, right? After all, we've all seen these dimes, compact, silver-toned, with Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile facing left on the obverse. The word Liberty stamped just above his forehead. "In God we trust," neatly tucked under his chin, and the year 1973 marking the lower edge. Flip it over, and there's that familiar torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing peace and strength. It's a design that's been in use since 1946, right after Roosevelt's passing. But not all 1973 Roosevelt dimes were created equal. That's where the real mystery begins. You see, buried in everyday circulation are a few rare specimens with small but significant minting flaws that can skyrocket a dime's value from 10 cents to tens of thousands of dollars. Could you have one hiding in your change? Let's talk about what makes some of these dimes so valuable. One of the most sought-after features is the double die error. It's when the coin is struck twice by the die, slightly offset each time. On some 1973 dimes, this results in a dramatic doubling of the inscriptions, especially noticeable in Liberty or the date itself. These errors are incredibly rare but unmistakable when found. Then, there are off-center strikes, where the image isn't correctly aligned on the coin's surface. Imagine Roosevelt's face partially shifted, cut off at the edge. These aren't defects in the traditional sense, but rather unique errors that collectors chase passionately. And they're willing to pay handsomely for them. Another shocker? A few 1973 dimes were mistakenly minted using proof dies meant for collector sets, and somehow slipped into general circulation. These coins have an almost mirror-like surface and crisp, frosted details not found on regular business strikes. If you happen to find one of these in your pocket, congratulations, you've just hit the numismatic jackpot. And here's a lesser-known twist. There are also transitional errors. For example, coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. While most 1973 dimes were clad in a copper-nickel composition, extremely rare versions may have been mistakenly struck on silver planchets left over from earlier minting years or from foreign coin stock. These versions are heavier and ring with a different tone when dropped. If you notice an unusual color or weight, don't ignore it. It could be your golden or silver ticket. What's truly incredible is how much these rare versions have sold for. Collectors and auction houses have seen 1973 Roosevelt dimes with notable errors fetch anywhere between $5,000 and a jaw-dropping $125,000 depending on the rarity and condition. Yes, you heard that right, up to $125,000 for a dime. Could you have one sitting unnoticed at home right now? Think about it. These coins aren't buried treasure or locked away in vaults. They were made for everyday use and have been quietly circulating through soda machines, laundromats, and piggy banks for decades. The idea that such immense value could be hiding in plain sight. That's the thrill of coin collecting. So, what should you do next? First, grab a magnifying glass and start checking those coin jars, drawers, and any stash of loose change you've ignored for years. Look closely at your dimes from 1973. Check for doubling in the text, any off-center images, or unusual shine that might indicate a proof coin. If something seems off, Don't dismiss it. Get it checked by a reputable coin grading service or an experienced numismatist. You could be holding something incredibly rare without even knowing it. Could you have one hiding at home right now? If stories like these fascinate you, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on more exciting discoveries, hidden treasures, and jaw-dropping coin values. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth thousands. Now, let's zoom in on the star of this episode, the 1967 Roosevelt Dime. At first glance, it looks just like any other dime you've seen. It's got that familiar silvery tone, made from a copper-nickel-clad composition. On the front, we see the strong profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a tribute that began in 1946, the year after his passing. His face is framed by the word, Liberty, along the left edge, with, "In God We Trust," just beneath his chin, and the date, 1967, resting near the lower right. Flip the coin over and you'll spot the classic torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. The words, "United States of America," wrap around the top, with one dime firmly placed below. Simple. Classic. Ordinary. Or is it? Here's where things get really interesting. While 1967 dimes were struck in massive numbers, over 2.2 billion of them, some slipped through the cracks with subtle but significant errors. And those errors have turned what looks like pocket change into coveted treasures. Could you have one hiding at home right now? Let's talk about the kinds of errors collectors dream of finding. First, there's the double die, an error that happens when the coin is struck more than once, causing visible doubling of the inscriptions or design elements. On some 1967 dimes, this doubling is most noticeable in the word, Liberty, or the date itself. The letters appear slightly shadowed or overlapped, giving a dramatic effect under magnification. If you see one of these, don't toss it back into your change jar. You're potentially holding a rare numismatic gem. Another fascinating variation is the off-center strike. It's exactly what it sounds like. The coin is struck incorrectly, with the design appearing shifted or partially missing. These errors can range from just a few degrees off to nearly half the design being cut off, which adds rarity and appeal. Collectors absolutely love these minting missteps, and depending on how off-centered the strike is, the value can rise dramatically. And here's something even rarer. During this time, the U.S. Mint suspended the use of mint marks on coins to discourage collecting due to a national coin shortage. So, number 1967 dimes have a mint mark. But a few experimental pieces and transitional errors still manage to sneak their way out. Some of these may include mirrored fields and frosted devices, features typically seen on special proof coins intended only for collector sets. And here's the twist. A few of these proof-style dimes somehow entered everyday circulation. If you're lucky enough to find one of these ultra-scarce coins with high contrast surfaces and near-perfect details, you could be sitting on a goldmine. Then, there are weight anomalies. Since the U.S. Mint had recently transitioned away from silver to copper-nickel-clad for dimes in the mid-1960s, some 1967 dimes might have been struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. A silver 1967 dime would be heavier and sound different when dropped, more like a ring than a clink. That unusual tone might just be the sound of serious money. Still think that old dime in your drawer is just a dime? You might want to think again. Because in recent years, these rare 1967 Roosevelt dimes have been known to sell at auctions for shocking amounts. How shocking, you ask? Try $15,000. In some extreme cases, especially with pristine errors or transitional strikes, bids have reached jaw-dropping numbers, as high as $215,000. Yes, $215,000 for a 10-cent coin. Could you have one hiding at home right now? That's the magic of numismatics. It's not always about gold or old relics locked away in museums. Sometimes, the most valuable treasures are the ones we've had in our hands all along, hiding in plain sight, disguised as pocket change. It's about history, rarity, mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. So what should you do right now? Start digging. Search through your coin jars, junk drawers, sock drawers, anywhere forgotten change might be hiding. Look closely at every 1967 Roosevelt dime you find. Use a magnifying glass if you need to. Study the lettering, the date, the edges. Weigh it. Listen to the sound it makes when you drop it. If something feels off, in a good way, it just might be worth getting it appraised. And if you love stories like this, full of unexpected twists, hidden value, and tiny treasures with massive payoffs, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon so you never miss the next thrilling episode. Who knows? The next rare coin we feature might already be sitting in your change jar right now. Until next time, keep hunting, stay curious, and always check your pocket change. Because that ordinary little dime? It could be worth a fortune. Let's take a moment to appreciate what this dime looks like. It's nothing flashy at first glance. The obverse side shows President Franklin D. Roosevelt in profile, facing left. His image has been on the dime since 1946. Surrounding him is the word, "Liberty, in God we trust," just beneath his chin, and the year, 1984, to the lower right. And just next to the date, a small letter, P, which tells us it was minted in Philadelphia. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right. This reverse side symbolizes liberty, peace, and strength. Altogether, it looks like your average modern dime. But that's the thing with coins. Sometimes, the most incredible secrets are hidden in the most ordinary designs. So, what makes the 1984 P Roosevelt dime stand out? Well, not all of them do. In fact, most of them are still worth just 10 cents. But a very specific batch, struck with rare mint errors, has caught the attention of collectors and auction houses alike. And those rare few? They're the reason this dime could be worth up to $85,000. Still think you don't have treasure hiding in your change jar? One of the most famous errors in the 1984 P dime is the double die. That's when the coin is struck more than once with slightly misaligned dies, creating a noticeable doubling of letters and numbers, especially in Liberty or the date. Under close inspection, the edges of the letters seem to have a ghostly shadow or overlap. These double die varieties are highly collectible because they're visual proof of a rare minting mistake, one that wasn't caught before the coins entered circulation. But the surprises don't end there. There's also the infamous off-center strike. Imagine finding a dime where the design is skewed, shifted so far to one side that part of the image or lettering is cut off. These off-center strikes create a dramatic look, almost like the coin was printed off balance. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, and how well the rest of the design is preserved, these coins can command major interest from collectors. And then there's something truly exciting: transitional and planchet errors. Occasionally, coins are struck on the wrong metal blanks. It could be a leftover from a previous year, or even from another denomination altogether. For instance, some 1984 dimes have been found struck on copper planchets, intended for pennies. That kind of mix-up might sound crazy, but it's real and incredibly valuable. These oddball errors are like winning the lottery for coin hunters. What's more, during this time, there were instances where proof coin features, like mirrored finishes and frosted designs, accidentally made their way onto business strike coins. If you happen to spot a 1984 P dime that looks unusually sharp or shiny, it could be one of those rare hybrids that somehow slipped into everyday use. And the value? Well, buckle up. In recent years, high-grade and rare 1984 P dimes have sold for anywhere between $9,000 and $85,000 at major coin auctions. That's no typo. from a dime to nearly 90 grand, all because of a mistake the eye barely notices. Could you have one hiding at home right now? That question is worth asking, especially when the only way to find out is to take a closer look. The truth is, the most valuable coins aren't always the ancient ones or the ones locked away in museums. Sometimes, they're sitting in your change cup, your junk drawer, or the dusty corner of a piggy bank you haven't touched in years. You just need to know what to look for. So here's your next move. Start hunting. Grab a magnifying glass, flip through your coin jar, and inspect every 1984 Roosevelt dime you find. Check the details. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual metal coloration, or anything that just feels off in a good way. If you find one that raises your eyebrows, it's worth getting appraised. And who knows? You might be holding a coin worth more than your rent. Now, if you love stories like this, where ordinary objects turn into extraordinary treasures, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and smash the bell icon so you never miss out on the next big find. We've got more exciting discoveries, hidden gems, and unexpected jackpots coming your way. Until next time, keep checking your change, stay curious, and remember, the next rare treasure might already be in your pocket.